Welcome to our practice today. And we are moving along in the world of Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart. And funny that we are today at the heart. This is about places we go when the heart is open. And there's a lot of sensitivity around, I think, about this because we through life we act ourselves, right? We know that, especially if our heart's been broken or we've been betrayed or our trust has been broken, um, we have a tendency when those things happen to close it down, which is perfectly normal, and whatever that normal is, but also very okay. The risk, however, is that if we close it to the point where we can't open it up again, then we run the risk of kind of numbing that whole sensation as you go forward. Because if we numb our heart, we not only like protect ourselves from the bad stuff that happens, but we also kind of block the good stuff that can happen in our practice, in our life, and that becomes problematic because opening the heart again is really hard. I do think one of the best examples I believe that we can draw from, and if you have never had a pet, you probably don't know what this is like, because experiencing loss of a pet, for example, although it's and I think I go to this because I think love for animals is unconditional. They can't talk back to you. They can't tell you how they're feeling. They can't say I'm sorry. You know, if they chew your favorite shoe, you get annoyed, and there's all this like, right? But man, there's such a openness for forgiveness for animals that can't respond back. And if you've ever lost a pet, you really understand the heartbreak of losing an animal and what that does for your family. Because at the end of the day, they end up being part of your family. And I grew up in a very European tradition. I don't know if any of you have, but in my Italian family, animals were secondary. Like they were, in the farm. They ran around in the backyard. We had dog houses. We were one of the only Italian families that actually had a house for our dog, because that just didn't happen. And I think that, um, a lot of traditions feel like animals are there to protect us, but they're not part of the family. So as an adult, now that I have a cat that I often call my stupid cat, but he's not stupid, he's so funny, right? And I'll spend whatever I need to spend on him because I love him so much. And I almost feel like it's a form of therapy in many cases in our family, because when we're upset, I look at that cat and start stroking it. And there's something to be said about that feeling. Now, when you move this kind of whole idea around people, the complexity is huge. The complexities are huge. You have a wide range too, right? From little ones, little children, little people to big people, especially as you're caring for elders. And for those of you that are doing that, you understand that. It's hard because they were always the ones that were, in command, or we always thought they knew what they were doing growing up, right? So we would do that. And then as they grow older, it's almost like they revert back to my mom's 88 years old, right? She tells me, she goes, I'm like a little child again. If you tell me something that I'm going to do it, you have to do it because I'll be disappointed. Like she literally does this. But that love, right? It changes and it evolves. But for us to close that love, it's hard. It's hard to come back from that. So I think this is where forgiveness and our capacity to stay within the love in spite of the pain is really, really hard and important. Brene Brown has a quote that I really like. It says, "We can't selectively numb emotions. When we shut down the heart, we shut down the joy too." And that's what kind of we're having. So love and hurt can coexist. Joy can sit beside fear. And when you come from a piece of love as opposed to fear, your world gets bigger. Because if you sit in fear, your world will shrink. automatically for sure, because you're too afraid. You're too afraid to love. You're too afraid to give. So this idea of self-trust returns when we know that we are instinctively loving human beings. So our practice today is about opening up to some vulnerability. We're going to be doing a pose, a variation of a pose called Wild Thing, where we're flipping and opening our hearts up. It's a big strength posture. Same with things like bow pose. And we're going to prepare for it. So, whenever you're going into any situation and you know it's going to be difficult with a loved one of the best things you can do is kind of rehearse and think about what you're going to say, how you're going to react to things that you know might pop up. It's the same on our mat, right? So, again, here's yoga imitating or mirroring life. And I hope that when you do open up in your body, you might get this sensation of opening up your heart and being okay with it, protecting it. And our Shavasana, our meditation will also incorporate some of that as well. So that's our practice today. I'll invite you to go back to your seats and I'm going to move back there.